The year is 1947. World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history, has just ended. Millions lie dead. Cities are in ruins, but from the ashes of this global conflict, a new struggle emerges. This time it's not a war of tanks and trenches, but a war of ideas. A war of ideologies. This is the Cold War. On one side stood the United States, a champion of democracy and capitalism. On the other, the Soviet Union, advocating for communism. Both superpowers, armed with nuclear weapons, viewed each other with suspicion and distrust. This rivalry, this Cold War, would shape the world for nearly half a century. It was a strange and unsettling time. There were no massive battlefronts, no declarations of war. Yet the threat of annihilation loomed large. The Cold War was a battle of nerves, a chess match played on a global scale, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. As the dust settled on World War II, Europe lay in ruins. The Soviet Union, having borne the brunt of Nazi aggression, emerged as a major power. Its leader, Joseph Stalin, sought to create a buffer zone in Eastern Europe to protect against future invasions. Meanwhile, the United States, guided by the Truman Doctrine, aimed to contain the spread of communism. This policy, coupled with the Marshall Plan, an economic recovery program for war-torn Europe, deepened the divide between East and West. Winston Churchill, the wartime Prime Minister of Britain, famously declared that an Iron Curtain had descended across Europe. This metaphorical curtain separated the capitalist West from the communist East. Behind this curtain, Soviet influence grew, leading to the establishment of communist regimes in Poland, East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria. This division of Europe marked the beginning of the Cold War. It was a time of suspicion and fear, a time when the world watched anxiously as two superpowers squared off, their fingers hovering over the nuclear button. At the heart of the Cold War was a fundamental clash of ideologies: capitalism versus communism. The United States, with its free market economy and emphasis on individual liberty, represented one side of this ideological divide. The Soviet Union, on the other hand, promoted a communist system characterized by state control of the economy and the pursuit of a classless society. For the capitalists, communism represented a dangerous and oppressive ideology that stifled individual freedom and economic opportunity. For the communists, capitalism was a system built on exploitation, where the wealthy few profited at the expense of the working class. This ideological battle played out on the world stage, with each superpower vying for influence in newly independent nations. Propaganda became a powerful tool, with each side demonizing the other and extolling the virtues of their own system. This clash of ideologies wasn't confined to textbooks and political speeches. It permeated every aspect of life, from culture and art to sports and entertainment. It was a battle for hearts and minds, a battle to shape the future of the world. The development of the atomic bomb in 1945 ushered in a terrifying new era. For the first time in human history, mankind possessed the ability to destroy itself. The Cold War arms race, driven by fear and mistrust, led to an unprecedented buildup of nuclear weapons. The United States and the Soviet Union amassed vast arsenals of nuclear weapons, each capable of obliterating entire cities in an instant. The doctrine of mutually assured destruction, MAD, emerged, the chilling logic that any nuclear attack would be met with an equally devastating retaliation, ensuring the annihilation of both sides. This constant threat of nuclear war cast a long shadow over the world. People lived with the knowledge that a single miscalculation, a single misunderstanding could trigger a global catastrophe. School children practiced duck and cover drills. Families built bomb shelters in their backyards. And the doomsday clock, a symbol of how close humanity was to nuclear midnight, ticked ominously close. Section 5. The space race reaching for the stars, fueled by rivalry. The Cold War rivalry extended beyond Earth's atmosphere and into the vast expanse of space. The space race became a symbolic battleground for technological superiority. Both the United States and the Soviet Union poured massive resources into developing their space programs, each eager to demonstrate their scientific and engineering prowess. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite to orbit Earth. This stunning achievement sent shockwaves through the United States, which suddenly found itself lagging behind in the space race. The Soviets followed this triumph with another first, sending Yuri Gagarin, the first human in space, into orbit in 1961. Determined to regain the lead, the United States set its sights on the ultimate prize, landing a man on the moon. In 1969, the world watched in awe as American astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin took their first steps on the lunar surface, fulfilling President John F. Kennedy's ambitious goal. The space race, while fueled by Cold War rivalry, had a profound impact on human history. It led to remarkable technological advancements, inspiring generations of scientists and engineers, and forever changing our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Section 6. Spies, Lies and Secrets, Espionage in the Cold War. In the shadowy world of the Cold War, espionage became a crucial tool for both sides. Intelligence agencies like the CIA and the KGB operated in the shadows, recruiting spies, stealing secrets, and engaging in covert operations to gain an advantage over their adversaries. Double agents, code breakers, and daring defections became commonplace. The stakes were incredibly high, as even the smallest piece of information could have far-reaching consequences. The Cambridge Five, a group of British spies who passed secrets to the Soviet Union, became a notorious example of the dangers posed by moles within intelligence agencies. The Cold War was a time of paranoia and suspicion. Governments went to great lengths to protect their secrets and root out enemy agents. The fear of infiltration was real, and the line between fact and fiction often blurred. Espionage, with its cloak and dagger operations and high-stakes intrigue, added another layer of complexity to the already tense Cold War landscape. Section 7. Proxy Wars, Battlefields of Ideology. While the United States and the Soviet Union never directly confronted each other militarily during the Cold War, they often found themselves on opposing sides of conflicts around the globe. These proxy wars, fought in Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan and elsewhere, became battlegrounds for the ideological struggle between capitalism and communism. In these conflicts, the superpowers would provide military and financial assistance to their respective allies, often escalating the violence and prolonging the suffering. The Korean War from 1950 to 1953 and the Vietnam War from 1954 to 1975 stand out as particularly brutal and costly examples of Cold War proxy conflicts. The proxy wars of the Cold War had devastating consequences for the countries and people caught in the crossfire. They left behind a legacy of death, destruction, and political instability that continues to be felt today. Section 8. Cracks in the system. The Soviet Union begins to crumble. By the 1980s, the Soviet Union, once a formidable superpower, began to show signs of strain. Decades of economic stagnation, coupled with costly military commitments and a rigid, centralized bureaucracy, had taken their toll. The Soviet system, once seemingly unshakable, was starting to crumble. The election of Mikhail Gorbachev as General Secretary of the Communist Party in 1985 marked a turning point. Gorbachev, a relatively young and reform-minded leader, recognized the need for change. He introduced a series of reforms known as perestroika, or restructuring, and glasnost, or openness, aimed at revitalizing the Soviet economy and increasing political transparency. However, Gorbachev's reforms, while well-intentioned, had unintended consequences. They unleashed forces of nationalism and dissent that had long been suppressed. Across Eastern Europe, popular movements emerged, demanding greater freedom and an end to communist rule. Section 9. Conclusion. The legacy of the Cold War. The year 1989 witnessed a wave of revolutions sweep across Eastern Europe. The Berlin Wall, a potent symbol of Cold War division, crumbled. Communist regimes collapsed one after another almost peacefully, marking an astonishing end to the Cold War. In 1991, the Soviet Union itself dissolved, breaking apart into 15 independent republics. The Cold War, although a conflict fought without major direct military confrontation between the superpowers, had a profound impact on the world. It shaped global politics, fueled technological advancements, and left an indelible mark on the lives of millions. The legacy of the Cold War is complex and multifaceted. It serves as a reminder of the dangers of ideological extremism, the importance of diplomacy, and the ever-present threat of nuclear war. It also highlights the resilience of the human spirit, the desire for freedom, and the power of hope in overcoming even the most daunting challenges. The Cold War may be over, but its lessons continue to resonate today, reminding us of the importance of dialogue, understanding, and cooperation in a world still grappling with the challenges of a post-Cold War order.